Senator, you're running about in the middle of the pack in polls in South Carolina, and what do you need to do tonight to change that?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm incredibly encouraged by the enthusiasm we're seeing here on the ground in South Carolina and all across the country. A couple of weeks ago, we had a big Republican debate in Cleveland, and I'll tell you, the energy, the enthusiasm, the momentum that came out of that debate has been extraordinary. In the first 100 hours after that debate, we had $1.1 million contributed to our campaign. Fundraising exploded as people all over the country went to tedcruz.org, contributed online, signed up to volunteer. You know, the day after the debate, we launched a southern bus tour. We started here in South Carolina, went from South Carolina to Georgia, to Alabama, to Tennessee, to Mississippi, back to Tennessee, to Arkansas, to Oklahoma. And I got to tell you, the energy and passion we saw on the ground, we had over 19,000 people come out to that bus tour. And I think people are fed up with campaign conservatives. They're fed up with politicians who say one thing and do another. And they're looking for a leader who will stand up and tell the truth and do what he said he would do. That, more than anything, is what I have endeavored to do in public office, and I think it explains why we are seeing such extraordinary excitement and enthusiasm on the ground.
Senator, can you walk us through how President Cruz would handle a run of days like we've seen at the market, both in terms of public comment, if you would have any, or just what you would be doing behind the scenes?
Well, listen, we have seen incredible volatility in the stock market. We've seen stocks plummet. This is a manifestation, sadly, of the weakness of the Obama economy and for that matter, the weakness of the world economy. Much of this is linked to what's happening in China. We need to get back to an environment where we see robust economic growth. The underlying problem is the American economy for 6.5 years, we have been trapped in what I call the Great Stagnation. You know, since World War II, our economy grew on average 3.3% a year. And there are only 2 4-year periods where economic growth averaged less than 1% a year. 1978 through 1982. And 2008 through 2012, where growth averaged 0.9% a year. If we're going to turn around this country, the way to do so is to use the tools that we know work, namely tax reform and regulatory reform. Every time the federal government has pursued tax reform and regulatory reform, whether in the 1920s with Calvin Coolidge, or the 1960s with JFK, or the 1980s with Ronald Reagan, the result has been incredible, booming economic growth. We need to do that again. If I'm elected president, my number one priority will be bringing back jobs and growth and opportunity, because economic growth is foundational to everything else. Young people right now come out of school with student loans up to their eyeballs, scared if they're going to be able to get a job. If they are going to be able to get a job, they're even less confident they're going to be able to build the skills that'll work towards a career. We need to get back to where things have been in the past, where young people coming out of school have 3, 4, 5 job opportunities. How do you do that? Tax reform. Dramatically simplifying the federal tax code. I'm running on a simple flat tax, where every American can fill out his or her taxes on a postcard. And when we do that, we should abolish the IRS. And then number 2, regulatory reform. For 6.5 years, we've seen regulators descend like locusts from Washington. The EPA, OSHA, the Department of Labor, the CFPB, strangling small businesses, killing jobs. We need a president who, like Ronald Reagan, has the courage to take on the regulatory state, that fourth branch of government, to rein it back and to unchain small businesses and job creators. And the most important regulatory reform is we need to repeal every word of Obamacare. If I am elected president, mark my words, we will repeal every word of Obamacare. And in its place, we'll pass common sense health care reform that makes health insurance personal and portable and affordable and keeps government from getting in between us and our doctors.
Senator, you've been very vocal about challenging Republicans that you don't believe are living up to conservative values. In fact, you called the majority leader a liar the other day on the Senate floor. And now we have a leader of the Republican field who once advocated partial birth abortion and once advocated what you would call socialized medicine. Do you have any concerns that Republicans could elect a person like that and who gave to Hillary Clinton's campaign?
Well, look, I appreciate that you would very much like to see Republican on Republican violence in the presidential primary.
I'm just trying to hold you to the principle that you've espoused with vis-a-vis Mitch McConnell. Is the same applicable to Donald Trump?
There have been an awful lot of Republican presidential candidates who've gone out of their way to take a stick to Donald Trump. I am not one of them. I like Donald Trump, and I am glad Donald Trump is in this election. Number one, Donald Trump is shining a light on the problem of illegal immigration. And because Donald Trump is talking about it, all of our friends in the mainstream media are actually covering illegal immigration. Illegal immigration has been an issue I've been leading the fight on